Convention Summer Sizzler.
Yay!
I'm Captain Zorik, your Death Star repairman. I'll be running out of here like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to let you know what's going on. But without any further ado, our panel on crises, commissions, comics, and politics. Crises, commissions, Civil Wars, comics, and politics. And introduce yourselves.
Can comics make statements about society like fine art does?
I believe it can do it a lot better than fine art. You know, it's nowadays it's like, you know, what is interpreted as fine art? I see fine art today. I went to college and we had to do a lot of stuff on fine art, and it's like basically you can put a cadaver, in a museum and call it fine art because it's something new and shocking. And sometimes fine art, what's so fine about it? I just don't understand it. But you understand comics, and it's not just the illustration, but it's the writing. Take for instance DC's Crisis. As far as fine art, I don't think it can get any finer. One of the hottest selling comic books I've ever seen. And just the story itself has beaten out, most fine art pieces that I've seen in museums, As far as topping it, yes, I believe, fine art, comic books does just as well as regular fine art does any day.
Also, definitions change over time. What we now know as fine art was in its day popular art, art for the common people. And there are several examples of the opposite being true. It's just a matter of expression and communication. It's up to other people to determine what's fine art and what's popular art. Although certainly popular art has the advantage of being popular.
Good boy. So true. Statement like that, what's now known as classical, like say for instance Michelangelo's pieces was known as fine art back in the day. And if you think about it, you look at Michelangelo's pieces, it's just a old-fashioned comic book. Like all of his characters, like David and his Sixteen Chapel, all these guys who look like they've been working out for their whole lives. And that's all we're just doing today, is just putting those pictures with words.
Well, it's also interesting when you, because of course comics are sequential art, several pieces of art telling a story in a row. And Michelangelo did that. Before he did any of his paintings or any of his sculptures, he did comics. Right? He would take like whatever the Bible story, let's say, Jesus chasing the money changers out of the temple, right? He would do these sequential art telling the story. And then after he was done with all these sketches, he decided, okay, I'm going to do that one as the sculpture. I'll do that one as the painting. He never thought of doing all of them, otherwise he'd be one of the first comics artists. But if you go to, say, the Pierpont Morgan Library here in Manhattan, they have those sketches, and you can see the whole comic that Michelangelo did.
Well, this is because Michelangelo wasn't as good as Jack Kirby. and Jack would automatically figure out what the optimal scene was for getting the action across. Michelangelo had to work it out. Not everybody's operating at that level.